Good afternoon and welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve. My name is Brent. I've got Brian on camera with me and we have Tara in final control. Welcome. As you can see, we've already started off with a young male leopard quarantine and he's sitting just behind me in a thicket sleeping off his impala kill, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that shortly. Just if there are any new viewers out there, welcome, and for those of you who are not sure, we are live bar a few seconds from wherever you are in the world to wherever we are in the African bush. And you will notice that we are sitting with the young male leopard. We've been following him for the last 4 or 5 days. He killed an impala 60 meters. Oh, that's nice of him to lift his head for us. He killed an impala about 60 meters from the final control. And over the last while, he's been slowly eating all of that impala. And this morning, when we arrived, it was completely finished. I think he might have dropped some of the kill, because there was quite a bit of it when we went there first thing this morning. And I think the hyenas possibly made off with it. So when we found him, he had no meat left in the tree. And so he walked probably 200 meters from where the kill was. Found this nice spikethorn thicket. Lots of deep shade, a good place to rest up for the day. So that's what he's done, and he's possibly not even moved 1.5 meters since we left him this morning. Just a quick recap for those who weren't with us on morning drive. We had a spectacular drive, mostly with lions. And we spent the majority of the drive with a pride called the Tsalala Breakaway Pride, or Mungen Pride, and it was a very cool, misty morning. Oh, where are you off to, Mr. Q? And we also happened to see the Kwatile female leopard. She walked towards those lions. We didn't get a best visual of her. She was sort of jogging off to try get away from the lions. Luckily for her, she saw the lions before they saw her. And for those of you who've been watching for a while, a couple of weeks ago, she was the leopard who was mating with Mvula and got chased up the tree by the 2 Styx lionesses. So she's quite wary of lions at the moment. Oh, and back down. Now we're just going to move around a little bit, see if we can get a better view of him. But as you can see, in stark contrast to this morning, which was cool and not overcast, but misty, which is wonderful. I really do love misty mornings in the bush. This afternoon, as I predicted, it is cleared up and burnt off, and it is now probably around 30 degrees, and I think there's about 6 clouds in the sky. So all he's done from when we saw him this morning is, as the sun's progressed through, he's moved from the one side of the bush to the other and just staying with the shade. So he's a very happy cat with a very fat belly. So he'll be quite hot digesting all that impala meat. You can see his breathing is quite fast and quite shallow. You can see his belly there, up and down. And all that time we spent with the lions this morning was on Arathusa. So this afternoon I think we're not going to go back to those lions. It is very hot, and they do have bellies full of giraffe. We were very lucky to watch them play in the cool morning. So I think if we made our way, and it is quite a long way, all the way out to Arathusa to have a look, we would just see some very sleepy lions doing pretty much the same as what this leopard's doing. So because it's hot, I think we might go check around Buffelshoek Dam, see if we can find some elephants. Hopefully they've decided to head down towards the dam for a drink. But we didn't spend much time at all on Djuma this morning, so we're going to go sort of read the news, see what we missed out on, look at the tracks, see what's been happening. And from what I heard on the radio, there were very few game drive vehicles out, so It's nice, so there shouldn't be too many roads that have been driven on, so we'll be able to catch up with what we missed out on Djuma while we're with those lions on Arathusa. And for those zoomies out there, quarantine male leopard is lying very, very close to the dam, so as it gets a bit cooler, could you guys just watch out and keep a lookout for me? I would definitely like to come back to him later in the afternoon when he's more than likely to be a bit more mobile, but I think he might head down towards the dam for a drink, so you guys keep a careful lookout on the Djuma cam. So we're going to head out now and see what else we can find. Goodbye, fat cat. And just for those of you who don't know, we are interactive. You are able to message us and email us and ask us questions. If you're on Twitter, you can do that by using the hashtag SafariLive. And on email, it's questions@WildEarthTV. And we've got a pile of buffalo bulls lying in the mud, having a spa day. So a lot of these old bulls will move away from the breeding herds as they sort of get out-competed by the younger bulls, and they form these bachelor groups that spend time around drainage lines and water holes. They sort of live the life of leisure, relaxing in the cool mud and trying to avoid being eaten by lions. And obviously that's one of the reasons they group together. It's a defense mechanism. A lion will think twice about taking on a group of battered old boys together, whereas one by themselves would be a much easier target. Let's go a little bit forward, see if we can see a bit more. Oh, there's another one with a really nice set of horns. It's just come up onto the dam wall in front of me. Oh, I think he's going to head down to the water, so let's go have a look. Nice wide set of horns. It's always funny, buffalo always look at you like you owe them money. And there's an oxpecker on his back. Be feeding off all the parasites that these buffalo bulls collect. You can actually see a swarm of flies around him. Almost looks like his skin's moving, there's so many of them. You might occasionally see me beating myself. I'm not actually hitting myself, I'm just trying to keep the flies off me.
The reason it's not that bad on the vehicle.
No, it isn't. For some reason, Quite often when we stop near buffalo, we get swarmed, but it seems to be they're preferring the buffalo to us. Must have been because we had a shower this afternoon.
Definitely.
I'll leave the old boys to their spa day. And let's go see what other news is out there for us to find. Good afternoon, John Q from Cape Town. I hope you're enjoying as sunny weather as we are. John Q was wondering what direction I was facing when I was on the wall. John, I was facing pretty much north on the wall, and now I'm going to go down this road, which pretty much leads east before I cut north again towards Buffalo's Hook Dam. So we're hoping there might be some elephants. We haven't had any nice big herds for a few days, so I'm hoping they might have moved back into this area. Good afternoon, Sharon from Pittsburgh. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Sharon would like to know if I've ever seen a big cat eat so much it becomes sick. I actually have, and sometimes not eating so much, but eating such rotten meat that they end up vomiting it up. But I have seen them do that quite a few times. But like most wild animals, once it goes out, quite often it goes back in. So they'll vomit it up and then eat it again. They'll vomit it up and then eat it again. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna stop for a second and grab Brian and myself each a fly swat.
Let's bring the whole tree.
Yes. There we go.
Thank you.
Just to keep them off us. They seem to have followed us from the dam. And anyway, while we have this tree here, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know it is a nice easy one, but we'll start off slow this afternoon. So who can tell me what bush or tree this is? There you go, you have a little close up on the leaves quickly before I have to chase the flies with it. So what bush or tree is this? And you can send your answers via email to questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, just use the hashtag SafariLive. Always put it over your face and keep shaking it to keep the flies off. Seems to be working so far. Far better than all the other tricks I've tried to use, rubbing sage on myself, basil. So the rain that we had a few days ago has definitely changed the bush quite a bit. There's definitely a lot more green in the grass, quite a few more butterflies around than there were, and I'm sure a lot of the grazing species will be quite happy. A little bit of more nutrients before the dry season sets in properly. So because it's been raining and wet for a couple of days, I'm just going to take a quick detour to check a certain tree to see if something's in it, but we will see very shortly. Well done, Joan! Joan, you're correct. This is a magic quarry. Well done, Joan from England. So that's correct, it's a magic quarry. Quite a lot of little uses. Its Latin name is Euclea divinorum, and the reason it has that Latin name divinorum is because it's used for water divining. I'm not sure if that works, but historically it would cut obviously a bigger branch than this one, take the two forked sides, and then it's supposed to pull down where the water is, and that's where you should dig your borehole or your well. So here's the tree, and he is right there catching some sun because it's been cold and wet. I thought we might find this rock monitor trying to catch some afternoon rays, so to get his body temperature up again. So we've seen him in that hole quite often. I think the first time I saw him was with Scott, and Scott actually told me it used to be a woodland's kingfisher nest, and it's quite interesting to see maybe if that leghorn came in and ate the eggs and then decided, well, that's quite nice, comfy. The birds have put feathers and soft pieces of grass in it, so that would be a good spot to make my home. And in the early morning, it's quite common to find him around here, just his head popping up, getting some morning sun. And normally in the afternoon by now, he would have been out foraging, but because we've had sort of a very cool couple of days, and this is our first real bit of sunshine, I took a gamble, and I thought it was a good possibility that he would be sun tanning, trying to build up some of his energy. That's a rock monitor. It's a medium-sized one. They can get quite a bit bigger than that. Very successful predators. They feed on birds' eggs. This guy's probably about, with all his tail, which we can't see all of, about 1.5 meters, I'd reckon. Maybe not even that big, maybe 1.2 meters. And weighs probably around the size of a small dog, about 2 kilograms. They can get quite a bit bigger, up to about 2 meters, and then they get very thick, and then they can weigh up to, I guess, probably about between 5 and 7 kilograms for a really, really big one. One of the favorite foods of a martial eagle. You quite often, in areas where you have a lot of martial eagles, you see them eating monitor lizards quite regularly. And also, I've seen leopard eat them quite often as well. Especially young leopards. Monitor lizards are often quite one of their first sort of larger kills. But don't get me wrong, they are quite able to defend themselves. They've got a very long tail and they use it as a whip, as one of their defense mechanisms. And they do have very, very sharp claws, if we can get in a bit closer on the claws there. Max zooms, okay. So they do have very sharp claws. Also, if they do manage to bite you, they have a lot of bacteria and stuff in their mouth, because they do feed off quite a lot of carrion as well, and it's very, very easy to get an infection from a monitor bite. So for those who hear that snap snap, that's just me taking a picture quickly. So also one of his defense mechanisms is to keep quite still. So he's saying, well, I look like the tree bark, my head might look like a branch, and if I keep very, very still, maybe those things are not actually looking at me, they're looking at something else. So you see, as we zoom out, good afternoon, Jenny, who's tweeting to us today. Jenny would like to know, is it venomous? No, it's not venomous, Jenny, but it does, as I said, have a lot of bacteria in its bite that can lead to infection. Oh, good gamble. I thought he might be out catching some sun. So you can see as we zoom out, his camouflage works quite a lot better. And he does blend in with the dead tree, and his head sticking out looks slightly like a branch. And there you go, there's a perfect example of reptilian stillness. They can move quite quickly when they have to. So even though they are called rock monitors, in this area we normally find that they sleep in dead trees or hollows in dead trees. But in other areas they are live in crags and nooks and crannies and rocks. Now, for all of you who watch the Djuma cam at the dam or the Arathusa cam at the dam, you will see their cousin, the Nile monitor, or the water monitor, and they are semi-aquatic. So they are related. These guys are very much terrestrial. They can swim, but they don't choose to swim if they can help it. Oh, I thought I heard something behind me there. Sounded like a buffalo bull being grumpy with another one. Bow. So you've always got to constantly be listening, smelling and watching when you're in the bush. There's so many different sort of news reports coming in at one time. You can have animals alarming to let you know that there's a predator around. You can hear elephants feeding or fighting, or like there we heard a buffalo bull sort of give a sort of grumpy with another buffalo complaint. Everything from the tiniest birds to insects can let you know about something that's going on. So I think we'll let this monitor enjoy his afternoon sun. And carry on towards the bigger water sources to see if their elephants decide to make an appearance somewhere. Good afternoon, Caroline from the UK or from England. Welcome and drive with us this afternoon. Caroline says she understands it's the second largest lizard in Africa, after the Nile monitor. Do I know anything more about this? I think you're probably correct. There's only one other lizard species that might come close, and it is also a monitor. And it's a monitor that occurs through the Central African rainforest basin. It looks very similar to a Nile monitor. It's just got sort of prettier markings, called an ornate monitor, and they can also get quite big. But I'm not sure whether they actually get bigger than the Nile or than the rock monitor. Oh, elephants have been doing some gardening. Aha! So the first one was too easy, I felt. You guys got it too quickly. This is a bit more difficult. So if you have a look at the leaves. Sorry, let me go a bit further. See, they don't come off opposite each other. Very, very pale underside, and they're very droopy. If we look at them from a distance, they sort of droop. And also the bark is quite an important giveaway, but it is quite a difficult tree. So I'm going to give you guys a few more hints. If we can have a look at the bark, please. It's a very rough bark. Got an incredibly beautiful tiny purple flower when it flowers, and it's named after a garden plant that you would get quite often wherever you might live, and it's also shares the name of a street where there used to be a lot of desperate housewives. So see if you guys can get that. You can send your answers to questions@WildEarthTV or just use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. So it has very, very beautiful purple flowers, and it shares part of its name with a road where there used to be a lot of desperate housewives. Good afternoon, Sibusiso from Harmanskraal in Jadenfoot. Welcome and drive with us. Sibusiso wants to know, since we've got such a problem with flies, isn't there a plant or bush or tree in the bush that flies are allergic to or will chase them away? Sibusiso, I wish. I keep trying. I will find one eventually. We've tried sage, we've tried basil. We just need to find, maybe we should try some aniseed next. I'll keep a lookout for wild aniseed today, and see if maybe that'll work. Until then, we just keep hitting ourselves with quarries. Nope. Give me a second here, guys. Just trying to see something. Do you see what I was looking at there, Brian? Mm-hmm. On the ground, there's a very pretty butterfly. Just trying to see. Okay, let's see if it lands. Hopefully not too far. Let's have a look. See if you guys can see it. To take off again.
No, hang on.
Do you want me to try go forward maybe a bit?
Here we go, there we go. Okay, there it is.
Oh, I can't even see it in the one.
Center, middle of the frame.
Ah, there we go. Oh, it's not the best view, but the brief glimpse I did get made me think I knew exactly which one it was. And we see maybe it'll move a little bit, and we can see it then. Where is this now? Still there?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I think I've found it. Look. It didn't fly.
Yeah.
Oh. So I only got a very, very, very brief view of it, but it was one of the pansies. Didn't get a close look, but I think it was this one here, which, if I remember correctly, my butterflies are a bit rusty, is a yellow pansy, but I'll double check that for you now. 176, if I remember. I haven't used my butterfly book for a while. Rocks it is. And there we go. Y 67, 172. 172. I wasn't far off. 4 pages off. Junonia, Sabrina. It is, yeah. So yellow pansy. Sorry, just had to make sure, double check. I will try keep a lookout for them. We get yellow pansies here. We get oxide pansies as well. No, up one. So this is, they're both actually the same species. That is the male, and that is the female. The one I saw looked like a female. But I will try keep a look. They do move quite quickly, which it makes them a little bit challenging from time to time. But after the rain, we've got sort of a nice sort of extra lease on butterflies. What we're looking at khokos, as I used to call them as I was a kid, which basically pertains to all bugs and creepy crawlings. They were either khokos or nunus. And I don't know if you can get in on those ants there, opposite us, running around. The reason these ants are quite interesting is not so much because of them, but because of what eats them. So they've got a really cool name, in my opinion, and I'll show you what their name is by braving walking through them. You'll notice as soon as they get vibrations, tell me where I should stand. There, are you on these ones here?
Yeah, I'm moving there.
Okay. They feel the vibrations and they run around. You can see them. Now they're going mad, and hopefully, now they're going to get into my shoes, so I got to move quickly. They are called pugnacious ants, and quite aptly named, as you saw there. As soon as you walk near them, they swarm over and they bite, and the bite's actually quite sore, and that's where they get their name from. But I said the most interesting thing is the thing that eats them. In the Sabi Sands and in the Lowveld of South Africa, about 98% of a pangolin's diet is made up of pugnacious ants. And so where you find lots of pugnacious ants, there's always a good chance you'll find a pangolin. And I've probably put my foot in it now. Everyone's going to ask me to go find a pangolin. They are quite rare to find, but the Sabi Sands does have them, and hopefully we get lucky. You never know when we might stumble across one. Well done, Ortheria on Twitter. Who got that tree correct? Orthera, sorry. Who got that tree correct? It is a tree wisteria. I think the reference to the Desperate Housewives made it a little bit too easy. I'm gonna have to find another one now. There's another pansy in the road. Looked like a pansy. Let's have a quick look now. Turn yourself to the side, please. Maybe I can get a photograph of it that we can use. Oh, it's just not showing us the spots. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not a pansy. No, it is a pansy. Okay, so if you guys look very carefully, you can see that very nice purple spot on the pansy there. So, sorry, I'm just finding the picture of it quickly in the book. Oh, he's gone. Oh. So that one was a blue pansy, and sometimes also called a black pansy. And it is that one there. Genomia onoma. Oof. So, very pretty butterfly. Thanks, Mark. Good afternoon, Christina from France. Christina would like to know the life cycle of that butterfly and how long it'll live for. As I said, my butterflies are a bit rusty, so I'm just going to have to shoot to the book here quickly. 72, if I remember correct. Yes. Okay, black or blue pansies name. Day-to-day butterflies. Well, so we're going to keep moving, and there's a lot of information in these books. So why don't you guys see if you can find out for me what is the lifespan of a blue pansy? Its Latin name is Djuma onoma. Right? Not onoma. Ononen. A yellow-billed hornbill. You see his gapes open there. If we look quite carefully, I'm trying to see underneath his throat. No, he's not doing that. His gapes just open. Looking for lots of bugs. They'll also be quite happy. The rain has increased the insects again, so they've got quite a bit of food in terms of larvae and stuff that's hatching, and frogs, which they do eat as well, which will be out and about after the wet weather. And he's cleaning his beak. It's a yellow-billed hornbill. Well, I'm sure most of you guys will probably know it better as Zazu, which was from The Lion King. That character was based on a yellow-billed hornbill. It's a nice cool breeze that's just picked up, quite refreshing. Thanks very much, Nicole, on Twitter, who says that khaki boss and wild mint can be used as a fly repellent. Unfortunately, khaki boss we don't really get here, and I have not seen any lipia, which is the wild mint or Bushman's fever tea. That I haven't seen any growing on Djuma or Arafusa. And then Vim from Canada recommended catnip. Vim, I've never seen catnip. I don't think we get it in Africa. I'm not 100% sure on that. But I'm just going to warn you guys ahead. We're on a road where we're going to drop down next to a drainage line. For a minute or two, we might experience a bit of a breakup in signal. But don't worry, I will try and move through that area as quickly as possible. Brian, can you focus on the road here quickly for me, please?
No. You're the way.
There. Or here, you can see where there's a very distinct drag down the road. Let's come out a little bit. Bit more. Yeah, perfect. So you can see it almost looks like someone's brushed or dragged something down the road here. And this is just to follow up on that carcass you guys saw with Mark yesterday at the hyena den. I found the tracks of those hyenas dragging that carcass literally from our northern boundary all the way to the hyena den. And this is the same drag from yesterday that's going back to the hyena den. I got a little bit excited when I first saw it. I was like, ooh, drag marks, maybe there's a leopard kill. And then I was like, no, it was the hyena yesterday. And you can, so it's very distinct. You can see how it's almost swept the road while dragging that that impala carcass. So I'm looking for any signs of elephants leading up to the dam. Unfortunately, none yet. So it's still quite warm, and because it's so warm, you're going to find a lot of animals that are still going to be resting in the shade, and they'll start moving out as the afternoon progresses and it gets a bit cooler. Whoa, hello. Just hang on, guys, sorry. Oh, I think you on their way to the dam. We just predicted. Didn't see them. They just popped out from behind the guarri bush. I'm trying to see whether they got wet feet in the wet trunk yet. Doesn't look like it. So hopefully what I'm doing is moving back, giving them space to walk through in front of me to the dam. How interesting. It's another female with an inverted tusk, but it's not the one we have been seeing quite a few times. She almost looks like she has a third tusk growing. She does. She's got 3 tusks. She's got 2 tusks on the one side, and I've only seen that a couple of times before. But we'll try and have a better look when she gets out into the open. I just wanted to move back and let the elephants have right of passage to the water. And the last little boy coming through. Off you go, Nonsense. But so on her right hand side, it looks like she's got 3 tusks. It doesn't look like a split. That does happen from time to time. I've seen it 3 or 4 times before. an elephant that's got 3 tusks. I think there's even recorded cases of really strange things like 4 or 5 tusks. She's still a little bit nervous, so I'm gonna actually wait for them to pass through. I'm not going to pressurize the situation, and we don't need to. So on that inverted tusk on the other side, there looks like there's a small 3rd tusk as well. Sometimes it's genetics, sometimes it could be from an injury that's sustained when they were young. But in the meantime, we've got an answer. Chris from South Africa, thank you very much, is answering about the butterfly lifespan. For that particular species of butterfly, there isn't a recorded lifespan or a known lifespan just yet. Thank you very much, Chris from South Africa. Now we got buffalo and some hippos, and of course the ellies. I'm just going to move around. You can see she's, just from her body language, she's a bit nervous. So I'm going to give them some space while they drink. I think we're actually going to try shoot around to the other side of the dam, and hopefully they relax, and we can try get a better look at that, what could possibly be a 3rd tusk. I'll just have a quick look from up here. Now the light is a little bit bad, it's very harsh. So the reason I said she was a little bit nervous and whatnot, she lifted her ears. We already bumped her by accident a little bit closer than I would have liked, and then she would have liked. So we backed off and let her pass. And then as we tried to move around, I was going to try to get to the water before her. She raised her head, lifted her ears, and she was just letting me know that, listen, I'm not 100% sure of you yet. I don't quite trust you. So just give me a little bit of space. So that's what I've done. Don't you love it when a plan comes together?
Yeah.
Looking for elephants at Buffelshoek Dam, and here they are. We try to zoom a little bit more in on that tusk there, just to have a quick look. Well, we are still quite far away. Oh, and you can. I don't know if you guys see what I'm talking about there. I'm trying to see whether it's a split or it's actually. But when I first saw it, it looked like it was another little tusk growing out that was not connected to that inverse tusk. I'm just going to try and move around to the other side of the dam. We get the sunlight behind us, so we'll be able to have a closer look. But you can see the body language as we're leaving there. They've already calmed down quite a bit, so that's nice. And as long as we give them enough space to make them feel comfortable, we don't want to interfere. And also, we'd rather them come into our space than us force our way into their space. You can see the light's a bit better for us to see now. We've still given her lots of space, so she's very comfortable. She didn't really react at all. And what I'm hoping is that she'll walk towards us when she's finished drinking. And that's her choosing to come close to us rather than us forcing by going closer to her. Also, we'll try to get a close-up snap with my camera of that tusk. Just so we can have a look on the camera maybe. Good afternoon, Brent from Wild Earth here. I left quarantine my daughter Ingwe lying up in a spike-thorn thicket to the south of Gari Dam, or southwest of Gari Dam, and I'm with a small breeding herd of elephants at Buffelshoek Dam. And other than that, no other updates apart from Dugger boys at both Waffles Hook and Gary Dam. I'm going to try to get it. It's difficult, she's turned her back to us now. But we will try get a good shot of that tusk. Guys, you know what? Oh no, she's going to go the other way. But you can see how she's moving now. She's far more relaxed. Can do. Keeping us on our toes. This Ellie. Maybe she might. No. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to think ahead to where we can get into the best possible position to view that without annoying her. Because we're here to watch animals in their natural environment and not to harass. Even if it means we don't get the best second look at that possible third tusk, I'd rather not have the best look at that and not harass the animal. I'm gonna I'll try to get a photograph of that when she turns her head. I wonder what they're smelling. It's quite possible because there's only 3 of them that they've been separated from a larger group, and you can see they're smelling. Maybe another herd of elephants passed there. I didn't have a look at the tracks when I was there. But they definitely, all 3 elephants are smelling the ground around there. It was also possible something like a lion or leopard was there and they're just testing it. I'm just going to move forward a little bit. Murphy's Law, as she turns the side we want to have a look at to us, she goes behind a tree. So what I'm trying to see now, and it's going to be better from this angle, is if that is a split or it is actually a 3rd tusk. But just from what I'm seeing there now, it does look like it's not a split, but actually a 3rd tusk. So that's good afternoon, Grace. Thanks for your email, Grace. Grace would like to know how old the youngsters are here and at what age do they become independent. Well, the first young one there is he's probably just all between a year and a half. The young bull at the back is probably guessing three or so years old. And The females will sometimes stay with their natal herd for their whole lives, or branch off to form their own herds at some stage. And when you get big congregations of elephants, like 100 or so together, or even 50 or 60, you quite find often that most of the matriarchs related sisters, aunties, cousins. As he's being a proper little boy, the little boys very often like to turn around and shake their heads at the vehicles. But with elephant bulls, they sort of get pushed out by the females, the older females in the herd, when they get to about 14 or 15, and their testosterone levels make them quite loud and boisterous, and quite often they just affect the sort of ongoings of the herd. And as I said, the elephant cows can spend their whole lives with their natal herd. He's showing off for us now. So that's completely fine while he does it. It's when, if a female was doing that, I'd move away. I wouldn't stay like I am now if it was an adult cow. But it's just a little boy, and you can see he's showing off. He's throwing around a piece of round leaf teak, saying, "Look how big and tough and scary I am." Like most little boys. Still throwing around the branch. But you notice as soon as he sees Mom's a bit further away, he sort of scuttles off. Okay, I can't get too far from Mom, because if I actually get into trouble, Mom's got to come help me. We'll try to stay with them, but only viewing them from the road. I'm not going to try to follow them off into this thick bush. You can see the female would probably not like that very much. Might be able to get a view of them from the other side of this little drainage line. The little one's wandered off ahead of Mom. They're using their trunk to smell us, determine what we are and whether we're a threat or not. No, we're not that interesting. Yeah, the other two feeding quite close by, but we can't see them very clearly. You just see shapes moving. Let me just move forward a half a meter for you there, Brian. There's a gap through the trees there. So more playing and practicing with its trunk than actually eating. So definitely still be nursing. So you can see it's more going through the motions of eating than eating, and it's basically training the muscles of its trunk. Good afternoon, Ashley from the UK. Ashley would like to know how many muscles are in an elephant's trunk, and if I remember correctly, I think it's around 800 or 900, but I'm not 100% sure. You guys will have to double check for me. And you can do that and send your replies to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. See, now that we've let her come close to us, she's far more relaxed, and hopefully she'll let us get a better view of that funny tusk. So she's probably about 6 or 7 meters in front of the vehicle, but she's not showing any aggressive body language. She's come close to us, we haven't gone close to her. So nice to just sit quietly for a while and listen to the elephants feeding. So I'm just going to keep quiet for a minute or two. They are very special animals. Good afternoon, Sandy from Virginia. Welcome on Drive with us this afternoon. Sandy would like to know, would that inverted tusk ever become a problem as it keeps growing? It's possible, Sandy, and especially with having that what looks to be a third tusk. I'll have a look at my camera when we're not with these guys anymore. We can have a bit of a closer look. It could actually become a problem. Greater chance for infection as well, also possibly injuring herself, because it's not really normal, and it does look like it's quite a sharp one as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move ahead of them again. I think I know where she might pop out, hopefully. I'm just going to keep moving parallel as they walk and feed, and we'll stop again up ahead and let her walk up to us rather than us walking or driving up to her. I see a nice big elephant park here. I think she's not far, that she's going to come through there. So I'm just going to turn around quickly. see her there. I'm just trying to position myself so I don't make it feel like I'm blocking off the path she wants to use. So she's not far away now, she's probably about 50 meters coming through the bush. Thank you very much, Ellen from Illinois. She's researched elephant trunk muscles, and she said an average elephant has 40,000, so I was a bit off there. But a large elephant can have as many as 150,000. Thank you very much, Ellen from Illinois. Murphy's Law. There are two paths and she's decided to take the one that goes behind us. Well, she might still come out in front of us. Hello, little man. Yeah, we're going to get a good chance to zoom in on that tusk there now. She goes, oh, she's going to go too far behind us, I think. So there we can see it a little bit clearer. She might turn. There. You see, it doesn't look like it's a split. It actually looks like it's a separate. Nice camera work, Brian. Thank you. A separate tusk that's growing out of there. Good afternoon, Sandy from Florida. Sandy would like to know whether she would be able to use a tree to break the tusk off herself to get rid of it if it's an irritation. Sandy, I don't think she would do that. She would run the risk of actually hurting herself and maybe hurting the nerves inside the tusk. So I think if the tusk broke off, it wouldn't be on purpose. It would be by accident while using it. You might have a little show off again from the little boy. Oh, he swung a stick around for a little bit. More interested in eating. I love young elephant balls. I'm gonna shake my head at you just because. I'll let you know I'm watching you. And the funniest thing about him is if I actually moved the car towards him, he would completely panic and run back to his mom. Good afternoon, Larry in Florida. Larry would like to know, on average, how long does it take for a baby Ellie to learn how to use its trunk, or does it depend on the individual? Well, Larry, I'd say probably by about 2 years most elephants have complete full use of their trunks. And when exactly they have full use before that 2-year period, I'm not 100% sure. And it could very much depend on the individual, but I'm not 100% sure. Sorry if I was talking. What was the update with that Djuma pride? Copy. Sorry, I just didn't give the updates earlier. Quarantine, my daughter Ingwe I left lying up at about 3:20 in a spikethorn thicket to the southwest of Vuyatela Dam. And there's a small Cambrian Lovo now, mobile north on Buffelshoek East, heading towards the Buffelshoek boundary. The Nyama is Pelile. I think it fell down and Nisi took it, and he's now just Lalapans. Negative. In those clearings between Twin Dams and Inga's Kaya, there's some spikethorn gymnosporia thickets, and he was lying inside one of those thickets, visual 1 out of 5. FM, I will go check later when it's a bit cooler. There we go. Here she comes. Another chance to zoom in on that. You can see there's a gap between them. So I do think it is actually a third tusk. I don't know. I think I read somewhere. I'm not 100%. So said you guys can double check for me. That I read. I don't know why the number 7 or 8. An elephant that had 7 or 8 tusks. I know there's an extinct elephant or pachyderm species that did have multiple tusks. I think that was only had 4 or 6. But it does happen with elephants that they do have anomalies like having 3 tusks. Now, it's not that common, but I wouldn't say it's completely out of the ordinary. But maybe if you guys can research on sort of African savanna elephants and see if you can find any records of an elephant with multiple or more than 2 tusks, and you can send what you find to on email, questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, just use the hashtag #SafariLive. Good afternoon, Mim from Canada. Mim wants to know, do elephants have hair on their tails from birth? It's noticed that the younger elephants don't have any hair on their tails. They do, Mim. It's quite a lot more fine, and they do have hair from birth. They actually have more hair when they were born than when they are older. And they lose a lot of that soft baby hair in the first couple of weeks after being born. And then the hair becomes quite thick and coarse. As you can see, the elephants are now going away from the road into quite a thick patch of bush. So, as I said, we're not going to follow and smash around. It might disturb them quite a bit. So, we'll leave them be and go see what else we can find. And here we can have a look quickly on the screen when you get it last minute with the eddies. Before they disappear. So if we have a look here quickly, and I see where's the best spot for me to put it by. So there we go. We can see that sort of third tusk, very small, popping out. I'll have a look. It's very difficult to see on a small screen like this, and you can see my friends, the flies. They're also coming to have a look. But we will try have a look on when I get home on the computer, and I will post a photo of it so you guys can have a look at that. And just don't forget, guys, even though we're leaving the elephants, please send me some information about elephants with multiple tusks. So, and even more specific, elephants with multiple tusks in the Kruger. I know they have been recorded before. Good afternoon, Nancy from Ohio. She said it looks like the smaller tusk is gouging out the other tusk. I'm not 100% sure on that. As I said, once I get it back home and get it onto a computer and I can zoom in closely and have a close look, then I know. And I said I will post a picture of it once I've sort of had a better look. Maybe I'll give it to Mark and everyone else to have a look. We can have a discussion on it and see what we all think, and I will keep you guys updated. So guys, we started off this afternoon. For those who might have just joined, and if there are any new viewers out there, you do must realize we are live. So whatever I'm seeing out here in the African bush, you seeing at home, and we're very, very lucky and privileged to be able to share our passion with all of you. And we really do appreciate all the questions and stuff you guys send in to us. It makes it a lot of fun for us to be able to interact with you, and we really do appreciate that. So we found that young male leopard pretty much about a meter from where we left him this morning. He's just finished off an impala, so he's really fat and lazy, and he's sleeping in a spike thorn thicket. And we're definitely going to make our way back into that area to go see. We might go for a drink a little bit later. So Zoomies at the Djuma camera, waterhole cam, keep a lookout because he's not very far from there. And so then excuse me, it's been quite hot today, even after the misty morning we had this morning. The sun's burnt it off, and there's barely, I can see about 4 or 5 clouds in the whole sky, and beautiful blue sort of autumn's afternoon. And so while it was quite hot, we decided to move towards Buffelshoek Dam to see if we could, because it's been so hot, so I was hoping there'd be some elephants drinking. In literally 2 minutes, or when we were about 50 meters from there, we bumped into elephants on their way to drink, and that elephant happened to have a very unusual anomaly. Looks like a third tusk. We will keep you updated on that. And now they went into some thickets in the drainage line, and in the beginning she wasn't very relaxed with us around, so we tried to give her some space. We're not going to go crashing around in the bush and disturb her, but it was quite nice because we gave her space in the beginning. You saw towards the end there she had no problem with our vehicle being very close and following her and the youngsters through the bush. So now I think I'm going to make my way back down sort of south. I'm right up on the northern boundary now, and I always like checking the area around Twin Dams and the Morawati River. Very good area for leopard. We haven't seen a Djuma or Karula for a while, and it's always a good area to have a look. And as I said this morning, we were with the lions in Arathusa, so we didn't drive around much on Djuma. So also just catching up on the news, checking all the tracks. So it's been a really great afternoon so far. Sorry, 1 second guys, I've got the Game Drive radios in my ear. They're trying to find a quarantine male leopard we had this morning. They're not sure where he is, so I'm just going to help them explain where it is. I'm checking our eastern boundary, always a very productive area for leopards. We quite often find Karula's tracks coming in from the east here. I know she hasn't been seen for a while, so, and it doesn't look like anyone's driven this road this morning. It doesn't seem like there were a lot of cars out on Djuma this morning. So for me it's catching up with the bush news, getting to know what's out there, so that's always great and fantastic. So reading my afternoon paper, so to speak. Well, I'm a bit behind. I'm going to read the afternoon and the morning. One go. Mark coming. Sorry, but can you confirm which vehicle you're in? Hi, Firm. Yeah, we're with him just now. It's quarantine. He's lying up in the spikethorn thicket near an old waterhole depression. Also, a couple of days ago I heard a lot of lion activity to the east of us, and we haven't had any lions on Djuma for a while, and as I said, it doesn't look like too many people drove here this morning, so I'm just checking to see if any of the lion tracks possibly cross back in, and also for leopard. Wow, the flies are insane. I don't know if you guys can see how many. There's probably about, it feels like there's 100 on my face, and it's so itchy. I'm trying not to smack them, but oh no, I can't do it. Too many.
We're being swamped.
We're being swamped. And the reason for that is because there was a big herd of buffalo around here a while ago, and then the bit of rain, they would have bred like mad.